Hello guys. Um I am out here. It's raining, so if you hear some pitter pattering, that's what's going on. Um so I was thinking this is going to be a rambling video, but um I was thinking about the fact that as a child, I was very concerned about what people thought, specifically about me. Um I was very self-aware, very self-conscious, very in my head all the time, stressing, overthinking, being at the point where I would overthink so much that basically I just wouldn't move, not physically, but spiritually, emotionally. I just kind of was always felt stuck because I would just sit there and overthink and well, what happens if I share parts of myself and people shut me out, or it was just, I was very self-conscious. And a story comes up from childhood involving my little brother, and we were going to return bottles and cans, I think, for money, and I was too embarrassed to go in and exchange the cans. And it was just oh, well, what if somebody sees me? Or it was kind of to the point where it was debilitating, this social anxiety that would just come over me and shut me down physically. And I mean, obviously, I think that part of that is natural because of who we are as people. I think that we want to have groups, and we want to have we are social creatures, even though some of us like to be alone, which is me. I do very much like to be by myself, but we're still social creatures in our makeup. It's in our DNA. And there's that pack mentality of, if you don't fit into the pack, then do you fit in anywhere, kind of a thing, and so you don't want to upset the status quo. But I was thinking about how much things have changed when I came into my power, and I realized my sovereignty, and I realized what my purpose is in life. And you come more into your divinity, and you understand that those other things don't really matter as much as they seem to matter in the moment. And that kind of actually goes hand in hand with security, because I was thinking about the fact that our sense of providing for ourselves and providing for our families, and what we think of as security, and what we think of as having all of the things that we need, that kind of plays into that as well, because of the fact that it's so I was thinking about the fact that I'm a very independent person. I'm a very it's hard to ask for help. It's hard to let people know when I'm struggling. It's hard to, and I think that's pretty common. I think a lot of people kind of develop that, and especially, it tends to stem from trauma of some sort. It's you decide that you're the only person that you can rely on, and so it is a trauma response. But it is pretty natural to be independent, and I've always been strongly independent. And the thing is that at one point in time, I thought that not being able to buy groceries, and not being able to have the money to figure out how I was going to put gas in my car and things like that, it's it almost feels like a failure. It feels like somehow you missed a mark, or you did something wrong, or all of the things that you're saying and feeling and speaking are false in some way. You know what I mean? It's if I'm always thinking about the positive, and I'm always looking to the future and being optimistic and knowing that things are going to work out. And then it feels like things don't work out and it feels like somehow that's a failure. But I changed the way that I view success. And that was part of like coming into that divinity as well, and coming into that, just coming into myself and getting back to my sovereignty. So, I realized that when you're struggling and you go to a food bank or you go, whatever the case is, and you are getting that help that you need, and you're saying like, maybe I can't carry all this weight by myself. Maybe I need somebody to help me carry this weight. There's so much power in that, and there's so much, it's actually not a failure at all. It's knowing that you're supported and being open to receive that support, and being open to know that like the universe has you regardless of how it feels in the moment. And I think that like changing that perspective was really big for me, and just knowing that like, we are all okay. And like, even if we're in situations that don't feel okay in the moment, that feel stressful and they feel chaotic and they feel like, we've gone down the wrong path, there's always something to be gained from that situation. And we just have to look for those hidden gems of truth. And that was like where my mind shift, where I actually started realizing that the things that we think create our reality, right? And I feel like in every moment we're heavily supported. We just have to realize that like, yes, you might run out of gas on the freeway and it doesn't feel like you're supported, but then some stranger stops for you and makes your entire day. Or just the kindness that you see in other people. Or even if somebody doesn't stop for you, but you have a tow person and they bring you gas, or whatever the situation is, it reminded me that we're always okay. And in those moments when we open up and we're vulnerable and we accept the fact that we can't do it all by ourselves, those are the most powerful moments, because those are the moments that bring you back to yourself. And those are the moments that you're in like a divine feminine energy of being able to receive and being able to accept. And it's knowing that you're supported. So I know that it's hard to like wrap your head around those things in the moment, but those ways that we can shift our thinking, they will shift our reality. And so the more that we think about things in those kinds of ways, the more we realize that like we're very, very blessed. And as we think of those blessings that we have in our lives and we're grateful for those moments, then we receive more blessings. And we just have to be open to what those blessings actually look like and what they entail. And the reason that I think that that's kind of connected to being socially anxious is, again, just being okay with being vulnerable and being okay with being seen, and knowing that whatever the situation is, we'll be okay, right? And yes, do I want to get up and talk in front of people? Not particularly. I mean, do I still get anxious? Yes. But do I realize that in that moment I'm supported and I'm safe and I'm okay? Yeah. And do I realize that, by releasing any fears that I have or any anxiety that I have, that I can actually just feel into the moment and actually be present and just appreciate the energy and the exchange and the outpouring of support and love that you receive in those moments when you make yourself vulnerable. So I think it's all just a mind shift. It's all about the way that we view things and see things and perceive things. And I think that in those moments of being able to notice that and change that, we are changing ourselves structurally. And we might not notice that, but you're actually changing your DNA, you're changing your past, you're changing your future, you're creating change. And so being present in those moments is very important, and the way that we view those moments is very important. So keep on keeping on, guys. Bye.